What is the best solution if the transportation to your favorite church is too expensive? 1. Check with the churches they provide a bus service. 2. Big churches have several buses that form a full-fledged ministry. However, the smaller ones may have just 1 or 2 buses. Whereas, it's the startup churches who do not own a private bus, thus forcing members to travel by themselves. 3. Help your church buy an affordable bus, so everybody can get cheap transportation. 4. Get acquainted with senior staff members and form a friends group in the church. 5. Start a group discussion and find out if others face the same problem. 6. Ask members to contribute for the bus. 7. If your church has a membership of 100 plus adults, then they can be requested to make a kind donation of $200 per person to collect $20,000. 8. The amount may look big for some members, but they can be convinced by suggesting that the bus service will help them save hundreds of dollars on gasoline, parking fee and free them from the hassle of driving, thus helping them enjoy the journey along with fellow members. 9. Wealthy members can be asked for bigger donations of thousands of dollars, and they can be offered a return on investment too, by using the bus for general transportation in the local community on weekdays, because the church will need the bus only on weekends and on special occasions. 10. Many wealthy people will be attracted by the idea of making money and providing transportation for the church at the same time. 11. Soon the donations will start flowing in, the church will collect $20,000 and will be ready to go shopping. 12. Do some research online and find reputable bus dealerships that sell affordable and fully reconditioned used buses to churches across the USA. 13. Remember, you want to buy the bus from someone who has been buying and selling buses for several decades and has a long list of satisfied customers. You want to deal with people who are full-time in the used bus industry. They should neither be part-timers nor one-time private bus sellers. Major Vehicle Exchange is one such dealership that sells fully reconditioned church buses to clients across America. For more information, visit Major Vehicle Exchange at www.getanybus.com and call the owner Charles Kaufman at 516-333-7483 today.